Good morning. I'll probably look a bit rough this morning. I've been up since about 3:30 and was in the shower at 4 and taking Tess for a walk afterwards, and we've set off early and we've arrived at Wick and we've called in at Tesco's to get some supplies, but it doesn't open for another hour, so got some time to kill. So I thought I'd do the video that I said I would do about health and well-being, basically about myself. As I mentioned, I've got 16 physical and 5 mental diagnosed illnesses, and most of them are invisible in that I look perfectly normal, whatever normal is, and I don't look like I'm ill at all, which has caused problems both for myself mentally and physically, but I'll come on to that in a little while. Firstly, I thought I'd take you through my daily med routine, which I've got here. I take a minimum of 26 tablets a day, which can increase up to 34 if I take my additional pain medication. And I also have 4 injections. One is Lantus, quite a big dose, that's 32 units. The other one is Nova Rapid, which I take 3 times a day, basically before meals. And I'll start with, I've got gabapentin, which is a pain reliever. Metformin. Now I take metformin and insulin, which is quite rare to take both, but because I've got Addison's disease, the problem with Addison's disease, one of the problems with Addison's disease, is that it fights the diabetes. They fight each other, and unfortunately the test that they do to determine whether you're type 1 or type 2, the Addison's disease corrupts the test, so I can never be found out whether I'm type 1 or type 2, but it is classed as drug-induced diabetes, which relates to this hydrocortisone. As I mentioned before, hydrocortisone is the red pill from the Matrix. It causes no end of problems, but unfortunately you have to take it, otherwise you don't live, basically. What else do we have in here? We've got loratadine, which is a hay fever tablet. Levothyroxine, 125 micrograms. That's for Graves' disease or hypothyroidism. Someone who has Graves' disease and Addison's disease is quite rare, but it's called Smith syndrome, just for information. When I was diagnosed with Addison's disease, I was 19, and at that time it was such a rare illness that only 1 in a million people had it. And now I think it's about 67 in a million, so it's getting more, not common, but more well known. Unfortunately, the symptoms of Addison's present almost identically to that of diabetes, and hundreds of thousands of people have died being misdiagnosed with diabetes when in fact they've got Addison's, which is a shame, obviously. Sertraline is an antidepressant for clinical depression. Fludrocortisone, that's another steroid, that's 0.1 milligrams, and that's half a tablet daily. I should say how many I take of each. And omeprazole. Now, I was admitted to hospital about 8 years ago with chronic stomach pain, and it turned out the doctor said I should have been on these from the beginning, 19 years previously, or however long it was. Yeah, 19 years, because the steroids eat the lining of the stomach. So I'd had 19 years of that going on, which is why I have stomach issues, gastro issues now because of that. That is 20 milligrams 2 daily. The metformin is 500 milligrams, 2 tablets twice a day, so that's 2,000 milligrams. That's quite a big one as well. The gabapentin is 300 milligram capsules, one to be taken at night and twice a day. And that made dumb things. One to be taken twice a day and 2 at night. So that's 4 tablets a day, which is 1,200 milligrams. But gabapentin is a good painkiller because it's a naturally occurring drug. It's not synthesized, and there are little to no side effects for that. Hydrocortisone, the main culprit, the one that keeps you alive. Take 10 milligram tablets in the morning, 1 at lunch and 1 at tea time, so that's 40 milligrams. When I was first diagnosed with Addison's, I was absurdly, massively overprescribed hydrocortisone. I was on 120 milligrams a day, and when you're ill with Addison's, and when you have like an infection or a chest infection or something like that, you have to double your steroid medication because your body can't fight the infection because of your lacking immune system. So at that point I was on 240 milligrams a day, which is crazy, knowing that I can survive on 40 now. My consultant at the time was very well thought of, and he was a nice chap, and he did save my life a couple of times, to be fair, so I don't bear any malice towards him. But because of those overprescribed doses, it also accelerated the things that come with steroids, like osteoporosis. There's also another disease called Cushing's syndrome, which is when you bloat up and basically get stretch marks, looks like you've had a baby, and chubby face, things like that. Atorvastatin, which is for cholesterol, and that one is 40 milligrams once a day. Propranolol, anti-anxiety tablets, 100% recommend these. They're brilliant. They work almost instantly, and again, little to no side effects. Natecal, that is for osteoporosis. It's a calcium tablet. Don't like this one at all because it's the size of like a XXX strong mint, but it tastes like aniseed and you have to chew them, and I have one twice a day. And finally, tramadol, 100 milligrams, one to be taken twice a day. This is a slow release tramadol. I have an additional supply of 50 milligram tablets that I can take a maximum of 8 of within a 24-hour period, and that would make it 34 tablets a day. I can't, well, I can drive with them, but I choose not to because they can make you drowsy and sleepy, and so I have struggled a bit on this adventure by not having my what I would normally have. But when I'm at home, I very rarely have the extra dose. For some reason, I don't seem to require it. I mean, there are days when I need it. There are days where I can't literally get out of bed, and it's all I can do to get to the front door to let Tess out for a wee. But apparently it's a highly addictive painkiller, but I've never experienced it. I've never thought, gotta have it. I always like to try and fight on and not take it because I take that many pills. It's like if I have a headache, I probably once every 6 months I'll take some paracetamol, because I'm fed up of taking pills basically, and I'd rather suffer the headache than take more pills, which is crazy because apparently paracetamol is a brilliant painkiller, and it's what they call, my healthcare coordinator says, it's what they call a piggyback drug, which means it helps boost the effects of other pain medication you take, which is quite interesting. I do apologise for rubbing my eyes. For some reason my hay fever has kicked in massively in this car park. My eyes are red raw. Now the side effects of these medications, I do experience quite a few. I mean, the tramadol for the first 2 weeks was awful. I mean, they call them the tramadol sweats, but I would wake up in the night drenched, and the bed would be drenched. I'd wake up choking on vomit, which is very scary, but it's the only painkiller that gets close to taking the edge off. It doesn't remove the pain, but it puts you in a place where pain doesn't matter. You know, it puts you on a nice little cloud. I also take lorazepam, which again is an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, but I take that very sparingly because that one sends you past the cloud that the tramadol puts you on, and puts you on the moon basically, and you can't really do a lot or be productive. And I only ever take those when I have a really dark day, or a day where I feel like the cloud's coming down and I can't manage to push on, you know. I'm going to do a separate video about mental health because there are things in there that aren't suitable for younger audiences. So for now, I shall say thanks for watching the video, and if you would subscribe, that will be tremendous. I've got 8 subscribers now, which is great, and I'm very grateful for all 8. I'm just going to plug this again. It's my book that I wrote, The Curse of Invisible Diseases, and Coping with Physical and Mental Illness, My Journey So Far. It's a book I wrote a few years ago. I was still married at the time, and basically it explains me from the start to a certain point, from when I was a nipper, going to join the Navy and signing on for 22 years and then being discharged after 21 days, going in at 11 stone 3, coming out at just under 7 stone, and lost 4 stone 3 pounds in 21 days. Now that's a diet, but that's also Addison's disease for you, but they didn't know it at the time. Right, I'll end it there, and I shall see you on the next video. Thanks very much. I don't think I said many times either, which is fantastic. Cheerio.